Page panel frame coming at you live. Oscar.
Daniel.
That's right.
Okay, so we're going to be reviewing Nightmare Alley. This is a movie by Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro, bro. What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry, I'm not Spanish, dude. But it's nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, so it was kind of high on our radars. So I guess, do you want to start us off?
It's not high on my radar. It's high on his radar.
Okay, well, I guess just to start, did you like this movie? Like, what did you think?
I love the movie. The movie was great. It was probably one of the best movies I've seen in the last like half a year.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. Cause
why, you didn't like it?
I did not like this
What?
movie. I did not like this movie. I had many issues with it.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, and it honestly kind of shocks me that it's nominated for Best Picture, because I think this is actually one of the worst Best Picture movies I've seen in a while.
What?
I know.
Dude, it is a great movie. It is a homage to the 1940s noir thrillers. It's a remake, actually, of Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, I think it was actually a book to start, so he's kind of going off that screenplay, and that's where I think the movie falters, because I know this director... A book?
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
it's kind of like a movie.
It's kind of like how on Page Panel Frame, like the first word is page, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's made out of pages.
Sure.
But, yeah, so I think honestly where this movie probably struggles, I know it has talented directors and actors, but I think the screenplay is just not there. And I also think he made some questionable decisions with, like, his movie choices.
What movie choices? It's literally an adaptation of a 1940s movie made in today's cinema.
Okay, I guess here we can start off with the start of the movie, the first act. The first act is kind of the whole circus portion of the movie, and so honestly, that part of the movie I really liked. Like, there was a point where I was thinking this could be a really good movie. Like, it had the mood, it had like a somber tone, it had some like vivid imagery, especially with like the person who was eating chickens and stuff.
Mm.
And yeah, I really liked that circus portion. I liked the circus characters, but it was like once the relationship started and then the rest of the movie, it kind of lost me.
Why?
Okay. I think to start, I actually looked at the movie for a little bit before we met again, and so the relationship kind of starts. He sees her twice. Doesn't really exchange any conversation.
Who are you talking about? You gotta define your characters. Who sees who twice?
So when Stanton first meets Molly...
Hold on, bro, you're skipping...
This is Molly.
Yeah, I know, but you're skipping way past... Bro, the first act, right?
Yeah.
We see a fairly young man who... The first thing is he's dragging a body across the floor.
Yeah.
And he's gonna burn it a house. We don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Right? So we know we've got a troubled young man.
That's true.
A troubled young man, a handsome troubled young man, right?
Yes.
We think that he's kind of this mysterious figure, right?
That's fair, yeah.
And he, in like the first opening scene, he gets introduced to like a carnival. And in the carnival, like, we don't know his role, right? Like, he goes into the carnival, there's this geek is like the alcoholic dude, eating a chicken. At first I thought he was a detective. He had like the hat, he's got this like shroud of mystery around him. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, he doesn't say
he doesn't say a single word for like the first 10 minutes.
Right, but he the first person he speaks a word to is Molly, and it's a foreshadowing because Willem Dafoe's character, which is Clem, which is like the circus guy that runs the whole circus. Mm-hmm. He's like telling him all this stuff, and he's just like, and Bradley Cooper, Stanton, is like not even saying anything, just like nodding or like going along with it. And I think that is foreshadowing of his huge insecurity. So he's got a troubled father figure. Clem is authority, which is kind of like a father figure to Stanton, and Stanton's not saying anything to him. Mm-hmm. And I took it as because he has insecurity with authority figures, because his dad was an alcoholic.
Okay. I actually didn't think about that. That is a very interesting way to look at it.
Who's the first person he says a word to?
Was it Molly?
Yeah, because I remember, because I took track of it. It's the first thing I noticed. It's Molly, and who is Molly? She's quiet, subdued. She's very innocent. She's very, like, go with the flow. She's very vulnerable, and she's very weak. So Stanton, witty, charismatic, young, good-looking, takes advantage of that, and he's the first. Like, he gets an in with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a foreshadow to how his pride and his hubris is going to eventually be his downfall.
Okay, so that does bring some clarity to, I guess, the start of the movie, but I still want to talk about that relationship, because the thing that I kind of just don't buy, I feel like they skipped over a lot, because Stan talks to Molly, I think it was 2 brief times, and then the third time, they actually have like a pretty in-depth conversation where he recommends having the chair. He also drew that picture of her.
Okay.
But then it's the 4th interaction he has with her where they start dancing. He instantly comes to these conclusions where she's better than this circus. They should go away together. And I also kind of don't buy it, because he kind of just stumbled into the circus. It's not like he was born to perform. He kind of stumbled on, oh, this old guy has a trick. And suddenly they're ready to have their own show and just leave everything behind. And especially because, like, you could tell Molly, I think she's attached to the circus. He makes it seem like she doesn't like it there, but in reality, like, later on, she invites circus members to visit her. So I think she has an attachment towards it, and we're kind of just thrown in to believe that she's better than this, and that circus is just a bad place.
I don't think so. I think Molly got into the circus, right?
Yeah.
Like, in the 40s and 50s, or whatever, the 30s, 40s, like, this would be, like, a career choice. Like, if you didn't have anything else, you joined the circus, or you joined whatever. You joined, like, a traveling act. So Molly, we can assume that she's got a troubled past, right? She doesn't have family. Like, the circus is her family. But Stanton, we don't know his past. Like, how old he is in the movie. Like, how old is he in the movie? I don't know. Like, 30s? 40s?
I guess he could be. Bradley Cooper is like, pushing 50.
Yeah.
But he definitely doesn't look like that.
Right. So he's like in his 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about him. We know that he's good looking
and
that he's charismatic. That probably got him pretty far in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably knows that. And he probably knows what kind of people to look out for. So he's looking at her as like this innocent person that he knows he can take advantage of. Like Xena. Remember Xena? The girl that took him in with the card.
With the cards, yeah.
Dude, immediately they started making out. Dude, he was like naked in her tub after like 5 minutes of meeting her. Like, he knows the pull he has, especially with the opposite sex and of people of authority. He knows the pull he has. He knows the angle he's going to play. The whole movie is about his huge ego and how his hubris is his downfall. So he understands the ego he has and the power that he possesses, like, physically and charismatically. Yeah. So he uses that to take advantage of Molly, because, like, we see after they leave the circus, he treats her like absolute garbage, like a second-rate. Like, but he knows this. He's probably done this many, many times before.
You think so?
Absolutely.
See, I don't know. That's where you're kind of losing me, because he dedicates so much time to this one act. He was in the circus for, who knows, maybe a year, maybe 2. But then he leaves and he's out of the circus performing, I think it was like 3 years later. So he's dedicated a lot of time for this.
He's a con man, and his con works.
But didn't he just kind of learn the con? Was he conning from the start?
No, he was...
I think he kind of learned it from...
He learned it from the book. The book that he gets from the alcoholic guy.
What's that dude's name?
It's Pete.
Pete.
Yeah. Xena's husband.
Yeah.
Or whoever. I absolutely... He learns that book. He understands the power of that book as soon as Pete tells him that. Like, as soon as Pete unravels, remember when they were in the living room having dinner, and then Pete was like something about his watch, and then Bradley Cooper's character was like, how did you know I had like issues with my dad?
Yeah.
As soon as he like clicked that act and that book is special, and it allowed Pete to kind of unravel some in Stan. Like, Stan knew immediately, like, okay, this is gonna be my thing. Like, I'm gonna use this to make to benefit myself.
Yeah.
I think he knew that immediately. A good con man knows. A good con man knows a good con. So, yeah, I absolutely think that his character is like, he played a egotistical con man fantastically.
Okay, I see. I can agree, because I do like that circus portion. I do like that portion a lot. The area where I start to have a lot of issues is when he leaves the circus and he's performing with Molly. Just they have their own show, their own act, and they're making a lot of money. It seems like they're pretty successful. They're winning crowds over, and I begin to question, like, what is his purpose? Sort of like, what's the plot? Like, what's the point of the character?
What do you mean?
I have a lot of issues with the purpose of each character. So, you did bring a lot of light as to how Molly's like this, I guess, more insecure, someone to take advantage of. But for me, the fact that he just throws her away as soon as they leave the circus, that just seems like bad storytelling, bad characters.
No, it's absolutely... That is exactly what a con man with a huge ego would do. He would gain the vulnerability. He would understand, like, okay, now I've got this person right in the grasp of my hand. Time to move on. Like, I'm bored of this. Because these people don't treat relationships like real relationships. They treat them like commodities. And once they get the commodity, they move on.
Because I was kind of under the impression that he wanted her.
Absolutely he did. And once he got her, he was done. Okay. It's a commodity. It's something you chase, and once you got it, you move on.
Okay, I guess let me get into the main problem I have with Bradley Cooper's character. It's I have little to no understanding as to like what his purpose is. It seems like it's just to get money, and they never really explain like what does he need money for. It's more just he needs money. He keeps trying to get money. He's willing to give the money away to the psychiatrist, but he still needs more money, and I don't see an end goal, and it makes this character very unlikable.
Good, that's the end goal. There is no end goal. I think you're reading too much, and I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand Bradley Cooper's character.
Okay, no,
and I feel like I understand the character.
Okay, or you're bringing some understanding to the character, but I think the fact I don't like him, and I don't really like any of the characters in the movie. They don't really develop them. I don't think anybody's really developed that well. Like Bradley Cooper's character, I still don't even know what his goal is, you know? He's trying to get money, but then again, it seems like he can stop at any point. He's willing to give it away. I don't see what his goal is.
His goal is to serve his ego. And once your ego starts craving things, there's no satisfying. Like, imagine, he went from being, like, lowly with no job, right? Like, he couldn't even... He helped out a circus set up for $1, right? Mm-hmm. He went from that all the way up to booking his own shows and having, I don't know, like thousands, maybe even a millionaire at some point, right?
Yeah, it seems like it.
But there is no end goal. Like, you just want more and more and more. And ego does not get satisfied. As you can tell, like, he was doing very well, and then he started playing with fire. Like, with the Judge mm-hmm. Kimball. And then with that Grindle guy, the guy that ran that facility. Like, it's always the next big thing. So his goal isn't money. Like, money is just a byproduct of what he's chasing. He's chasing the satisfaction of getting his ego stroked. And your ego, if you have a huge ego, there is no satisfying it. No matter what you do and no matter what you get, it's just the next bigger thing. And like the saying is, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Because eventually, like, you'll get to something that's way too big for you. Mm-hmm. Just way too complex. And it brings down your demise. And he is literally the embodiment of hubris. Huge egos that eventually take down the person that is carrying the ego.
Wow, I really feel like I missed out a lot of this movie. I think the delivery was what got me, because the whole time I was thinking I can't really connect to these characters.
I connected to Bradley Cooper's character so much.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe that's evidence of how big my ego is, but I just like saw so much of like the anger, like the resentment he had towards his dad, like the anger and just how that manifested itself in his own drive for his own success. Like, it was about him. Like, it was me, my show, my this. Like, I want the next big thing. It was just like this pursuit of something greater than himself.
Who was the guy with the book?
Pete.
Okay, so I remember there was a point where the psychiatrist was talking about his insecurities with old men. Mm-hmm. So how do you think Pete falls into that?
I think he was a father figure for him, and one that I think was a huge accident. I don't think he meant to poison him with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just did not realize that he took it out of the wrong bin.
Yeah.
And I think he actually felt saddened by his death. Like, I think...
I could kind of see that. But then again, maybe that was just the subconscious ego, like, purposely... Or it was kind of, like, leading him towards getting the book.
Yeah.
And the only way he could get the book is if Pete was dead.
Right. And you do kind of question that. And I think that's good filmmaking, where you want to jump to, like, a motive, but you also are hesitant to, just because we know the character is a self-serving character.
Yeah, so I guess another character I was kind of interested in your opinion on was the psychiatrist. Because I have a lot of trouble figuring out, like, sort of like, what's her purpose? What's her goal? Because she's sort of like playing with Bradley Pitt's character.
Bradley Pitt? Bradley Cooper?
She's... Okay. So the psychiatrist is kind of playing with Stanton, the character, and she's almost like leading him on. She's allowing him to get these insights on these rich and powerful people, to a point when she finally stops doing it. And I don't know, does she want the money? It almost seems like she kind of loves him. I don't know, there's a lot of gray areas in there, and I just have a hard time. Like, I have a hard time relating to a lot of these characters and just understanding their motives.
It's fantastic. Like, her character's fantastic, because at first you think she's like this mysterious woman, right? She comes to the thing with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know what her angle is.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh, Bradley Cooper's found out. Like, his act's been blown.
Yeah.
And then he actually reads the fact that she's got a gun in her purse.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, how the hell did he do that?
Yeah.
Right? So he kind of gets an edge on her, and then that makes her like be like, oh wow, like, this guy's not just your typical con man. Like, this guy's... I think that really attracts her.
I guess as a psychologist, she wants to learn more about him.
Right. And then she brings him up to her office, right? He woos her, he does her thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's attracted by his con man-ness. I don't think she's attracted by his, like, witty or... I mean, he you know, like...
Like, she could have had him if she wanted to.
Yeah, like, she's not a bad-looking person either.
Yeah.
I think she's super attracted to his insecurity. I think as a psychologist, she's so attracted to the fact that he has a bad father figure, and the fact that he's hiding, like, the alcoholism, right? Like, his thing with alcohol. Like, she rubbed the whiskey on her lips and then kissed him.
To give him a taste. Okay, because I was also struggling with the alcohol. I didn't... See, he said he never drank before, and I guess you can't believe him. It's all the ego talking.
Yeah, but also ego will make you be like, no, I'm so powerful that I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. I'm better than that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm better than drinking. And so he says, like, no, I never do that. It's like a proud thing. Even she says it. It's like a proud thing.
Yeah.
Never. I never drink. I never do this. Like, it's like he's like better than people that drink.
Mm-hmm.
And then she basically intoxicates him with her lust.
Yeah.
She kind of like seduces him, puts the whiskey on her lips. He gets a taste, and then she feels powerful. So she's on this power trip that she's bringing this powerful, confident man down. And I think she does have feelings for him, but I think the feelings are not because she loves the idea of him.
Yeah.
Like, she loves that he's confident. She loves that, like, everybody would love somebody that's confident and good looking, right? But I think she's in love with the idea of him. But in reality, he's this insecure guy that's so easy to bring down.
Yeah, and she probably already knows that. So that's why she doesn't really fall for him, and she actually goes against him.
And you saw the scar on her chest.
Yeah.
I think it was a huge thing for her to get revenge on men. Like, she said, powerful men did this to me.
Yeah, she didn't want to get married too.
Yeah, and it's like, this is her chance to finally get a revenge on
a powerful
males.
man.
Yeah. And I think she just goes for it. And I think if she was able to kind of turn him around, like, if he was like, okay, like, I love you too, I think, like, they probably would have worked out. Like, I think they would have probably been good for each other. But then he doesn't actually have, like, the self-reflection ability, and he doesn't give up the act. So I feel like she's just kind of forced to be like, all right, like, this guy's not changing. Time to bring him down.
Do you think she realized that he snuck into her office and saw the tapes? Because it almost seems like, at least based on what you're describing, where that relationship could have worked out, and then she does go against him. It almost seems like maybe she had an idea.
I think Absolutely. I think the fact that when she's in the bathroom, she hears the keys jingle, as if like she knew what was going on. I think that's when she made the decision to kind of go against him or betray him. Is because she knew that he made the key.
Yeah. That he was beginning to con her.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to bring up my issues because you're actually addressing them pretty well, and I might have to rethink my score on this movie, but yeah, I guess one thing I never really like in movies, it has to be done very well in order for it to be pulled off well. It's love triangles. Because I can kind of understand it with who this character is now. You know, he's the epitome of the ego, so he's kind of dropping his original love for the psychiatrist, for I guess the mystery behind it, the people she knows. But it's also just I didn't like any of the characters. So then when you throw this love triangle into the mix, it kind of loses me, and I don't really feel for these relationships, and it feels like downtime.
Do you think he loves either Molly or the doctor?
Based on the way he's moving from one to another, no. But I was under the impression that he really that he was really into Molly, and he would still be into Molly. Like, I mean, they're having a successful show. It's not like they're doing bad in life. Like you said, they're probably millionaires.
But the foundation of love isn't success or money.
No. But if his ego wants that money so bad, I mean, he's already attaining the money. So
you're missing it. You're missing the point of the ego thing. It's not money. I just don't think you really. I think you don't have a huge ego, and that's why you can't relate. Who does he love the most out of love? Who does he love the most out of all three of them? Everybody in that triangle. Who does he love the most? There's only one right answer.
Well, it's got to be the psychiatrist.
No.
Oh, himself. I thought you were talking about the lady who stroked his penis.
Yeah, Zena.
Yeah, Zena, Molly.
Dude, that girl's from Hereditary.
Really?
Yeah, that's the main character.
I actually haven't seen that. But
yeah, you have. You've seen it with us in the theater.
Oh yeah, because that. No, I didn't see that movie. Oh. But that same actress is also from Sixth Sense. She's the mom.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's talented.
She's pretty hot, dude. Like, she's got like a weird thing going on.
Yeah.
I think like she's like weirdly hot. But
yeah, there's something about like
crazy bulging eyes.
Yeah, like did you watch Queen's Gambit?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like they have like an interesting, like, it's not necessarily like on paper, like it's not like super like just like symmetrical and like a 10.
Yeah.
But there's something about how it's like off that is very attractive.
Yeah, when you got like that alien look. But no, what's her name? Anna Joy?
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, bro, if you're watching this, like, I love you.
Hit us up.
I love you, dude. We could have a love triangle.
Yeah. All three of us. What's that thing they call? What's from Paris? Who's from Paris? What? Eiffel Tower? Wait, what? Wait, no. Okay.
Oh, bro. But anyways, yeah. So I think he loves himself. I think he loves himself, and maybe you just can't relate to that, but if you love yourself, like, no amount of money, no amount of other people, it's always the next thing, like the next thing that's going to stroke your ego. And it's always got to be something bigger. It can't be something like the psychologist is successful, right? She lives in a penthouse, like, she's good looking, like, she's got confidence, and it attracts him. That attracts him. He doesn't fall in love with her. He falls, like, it's like a spell over him of like this woman.
Mm-hmm.
He's like excited about her, but he doesn't love her.
Yeah, I guess also when he's moving on to conning these rich people, he does also move on from one who's already really big to one that's even bigger.
Right.
I mean, he's getting a polygraph test beforehand. Yeah, and he has to push himself to such a limit where he has to get Molly in on it to try to con him, and I mean, it leads to his downfall. But yeah, I guess we can talk about the thing that I also think this movie did really good at the end, to an extent, is the moral question it draws upon us. Where they bring it up in the circus once, but when Xena,
yeah.
When Xena has to save her act by pretending to know or see this lady from the audience, her dead son.
Yeah.
She pretends to see him, and she kind of plays that off as, or in a way to give the lady hope.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the question: is it giving them hope, or is it just flat out lying to them, and just is it gonna put, like, I guess, wrong thoughts in their head? And we kind of see this moral question again 2 more times. Once with the first rich guy, who it seems like that guy and his family, they have closure.
Judge Kimball?
Yeah, Judge Kimball.
Yeah, and his
So
wife, right?
yeah, so when Staten tells them about their son, he has a couple meetings with them. They seem to have this closure, but then later we realize that this is a very, like, toxic closure, where the wife, they just want to be together because now that they know that their son's out there, she decides to kill Judge Kimball and herself. And then he goes on to the final man. I forget what his occupation was, but his daughter died while giving birth, and again he's going for the same ploy to sort of say that he has a connection to her.
That wasn't his daughter. That was his lover.
Oh, that was his lover?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he goes to this super wealthy guy, pretends to have this connection to his wife, and he's kind of doing it for the guy to have hope, to sort of, like, come to terms with what's going on, but that never happens.
No, I don't think even Stanton believes that he's giving them hope. I think he's just saying that as a lie to himself. I've never believed that they had hope. Like, I think Stanton knew as soon as he, like, pursued, like Pete even gave him a warning, like, do not pursue, like, this stuff with dead people, and, like, don't give people, like, hope that you're talking to dead relatives. It's not going to end well. I think he knows this. Like, he knows it. He's just flat out lying to himself that he's giving them hope.
Yeah, but he does bring up that argument. So he is lying to himself, but he has that sort of, like, that's the reason he's doing it. He tells Molly that, like, that's his reason for going to help these people, is because it could give them hope. So it's not, like, all bad. And it almost, like, draws upon the question, like, is this actually a good thing? Like, could people, if they truly believed that someone they lost is happy on the other side, like, like, could that bring somebody hope? Could that let them come to terms with it more easily? Because, I mean, for many people, a loss like that is, like, it lasts a lifetime.
No, I don't think. I mean, like, just think about it. Like, what's your gut reaction to lying to somebody about their dead relative?
Yeah, it definitely seems wrong. It definitely seems wrong, but and the film kind of tells us that it is wrong, because every instance when it happens, it ends in a bad way.
Yeah. I don't. There's nothing hopeful about lying to somebody about their dead relatives.
Yeah, I see. Even if I don't believe in it, I do like the movies that sort of, like, present an argument, and you can kind of see their side of the story. Like, you can see the side of the story from the person from the antagonist. Like, I guess one movie that does this really well is Nightcrawler.
Oh, I love Nightcrawler.
Where, like, yes, you know his actions are bad, but he has a way of justifying it to where you can kind of see that side of the story. And I like having that, where even if I don't agree, I can sort of see that side of the story. And that's why I thought that moral question was good, until Guillermo gave us flat out answers of, like, no, this is bad in every instance, it ends badly.
See, like, those are such shallow, I don't know, like in Nightcrawler, it's such a shallow moral, and here, like, it's hopeful. That's such a shallow moral argument, because it's not hopeful. Like, you don't need to spend a lot of time even presenting the question of, like, is it hopeful to lie about your dead relatives because it provides closure? No. Like, lying about dead relatives, like, what could you possibly say that's going to provide closure and not provide more questions or more regret or more, like, confusion? Like, if somebody's dead, how are you supposed to say anything about them that's going to provide more closure? Like, what can be more closure than somebody dying?
Yeah, I guess that is true. Because if you were the parent or the lover, then you would want to keep going to Bradley's character,
right?
And keep asking him more. And that's sort of what the last guy does. And he keeps asking for more and more.
Right, but isn't that the
until
opposite
he
of
becomes
closure?
disappointed. But yeah,
That's the opposite
so yeah,
of
it
closure.
is.
He's opening up like this wound,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like getting off on it.
Yeah.
It's like he's opening up because he's trying to be close. It's as if like it's like restarting the cycle of what is it, grief or mourning?
Yeah.
Like you've got this closure already.
Mm-hmm.
Like you realize they died. You've accepted they died. There's nothing you can do. When somebody's dead, they're gone.
I don't think they're not at closure yet, because if they're willing to pay that much,
I don't know. I think they're. I think they've accepted that the person's gone. Like they've accepted that. There's nothing they can do to bring them back. And here's this guy promising, okay, yeah, like I can talk to them. Like how is that closure?
Yeah.
That's not closure. That's not acceptance. That's denial. That's saying
Yeah.
like, okay, reality suspended. This guy can talk to dead people. Like they're willing to lie to themselves. Any person's gonna, dude. If somebody came up to me and was like, hey, I can communicate with the dead. Like I can tell you some stuff and I can convince you that I can communicate with the dead. I got a huge red flag going on, like huge alarm going on. Like, dude, that's not possible. You cannot talk to dead people. Like, hello, we're not living in like fantastical. Like this is reality.
but we're talking 1940s here.
Yeah, I guess. So maybe it is fitting for the time period.
Yeah.
But still, I don't think. I don't know, morally, I don't think anyone in this movie believes that what he's doing is good. And I don't think even he believes that what he's doing is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just trying to justify it to himself, justify it to the people around him, and he's like lying to himself that, no, I'm giving them hope. Like, no, I don't think you are. And he doesn't think he is.
Yeah. Okay. I guess, another question, sort of from the filmmaking perspective. I always like to look for metaphors. Like, whenever I see something in a movie that it has no obvious answer, I try to think, like, how does the rest of the film relate to this? And so there are a couple, actually. But this is another thing I don't think it does very well. So, Xena's, her cards, that they're used, like, twice, and the second time is the most prominent, where he flips over the card and he sees the upside down hanging clown or something.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a quick symbolization that, oh, this is like not going to work out for you.
Right.
But the fact that it's just a straightforward, like, oh, we know what's going to happen next. It seems like that's like too cheap of a metaphor. And then we also have the baby in the bottle. The one that
Enoch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enoch. I forgot that name. That's such a funny name.
With
but
the eye in the forehead?
Yeah, so I can't really see another purpose besides just foreshadowing that the last rich guy, his lover died with a baby in the womb. I don't really see, and like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something like I was with a lot of the rest of the movie, but these metaphors that they use, they seem kind of just like dry.
So the cards, I don't think really are a metaphor. Or maybe they're supposed. I think the cards are supposed to foreshadow his ultimate demise.
Okay.
But I think they're not like.
Yeah, I guess.
I think they're meant to be taken at face value.
Yeah.
Like they're meant to be like a warning to Bradley Cooper's character.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's like any deeper symbolism than that.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is that Xena, when she flips over that card, she tells him that he has a choice. And Stanton says, "No, I don't. I've got it under control."
Oh.
Like,
yeah.
And then he flips it back around. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like better than this. Like, I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. And that's his ego kind of coming out again. With the baby in the eyeball, I think Willem Dafoe mentions that like he sees everything, or like it's kind of strange. He says something around the lines of like, yeah, he follows me. He just seems to follow. Like he's talking about the baby. Like it just seems to follow him where he goes.
And it is at the end of the movie.
It's at the end of the movie.
Even when Willem Dafoe isn't there.
Right.
So it's almost like the baby is following Bradley Cooper and not Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, and when Bradley Cooper gets on the train to hide from the cops.
Yeah.
Right, like when he gets shot in the ear.
Yeah.
What is he hiding behind?
Chickens.
Chickens. And what does a geek have to eat?
Chickens. That's a good point.
Yeah. And do you notice that Bradley Cooper is the only one that kind of has any pity on the geeks?
Yeah.
Like he gives the geek a smoke. He's interested in the geek, and he's kind of like I don't know. I kind of got like a feeling that there was something going to be going on with the geek and Bradley Cooper's character as soon as they kind of highlighted their interaction. And it's really strange how you can go from being like this charismatic young man, intelligent, and then a few choices later, you're basically at rock bottom.
Yeah.
It's really like, I think that is also a great way to highlight the fragility of, like, man. Is like you can be up at the top, and a few poor choices later, you can be at rock bottom. And you go up and you go down. You go up and you go down. And what's that dependent on? It's really dependent on the choices you make. And I don't know. I think that really... I don't know.
It sounds like it resonated with you.
It resonated with me a lot, because it's like, it's all about the choices you make. It's about the choices I make. Like, what choice am I going to make today? And is that going to lead me to be...
A geek,
right? At the helm of somebody with opium in their alcohol, like.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, at the end, he's like, "Yeah, I was born to do this. Like, I was born to be this." And it's just because I don't know. I think he just kind of gave up at the end because.
Because I wonder also if he remembered the story about how Willem Dafoe won the geeks over, because it almost seems like. Before he takes that second shot, he thinks about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So he almost like remembers, like, oh, this is what's happening to me.
Absolutely.
So you think he wants to become a geek?
I think you have no choice. I think he just accepted that.
Or he was that low that...
Yeah, I think he was that low. And he was laughing and crying because he's like, dude, like, oh my gosh, it's all full circle. Like, I'm right back where I was taking pity on the geek, and now I am the geek. And so it's just like this like circle of like don't take your own ego and your own ability for granted. Like, don't think of yourself too highly, because you could be right back to, nothing.
Yeah. Okay, this is a little off topic, but I did remember one other thing that sort of bothered me. And it's when Molly's about to leave, Staten comes to her and he needs her one more time. Mm-hmm. He says something like, I need your help one more time, and then you can go. So she already knows that he's cheating on her. Mm-hmm. She has every reason to leave. He even said he just needs her one more time. He's using her one more time, and then she can go. Mm-hmm. And yet she decides to help him with... It's a very big and like morally questioning thing that she's helping him with. So I feel like there are a lot of decisions like that it still puts me off.
Yeah, these are all broken people, and so they, Molly's never had somebody like Bradley Cooper's character Stanton like be interested in her, and so she kind of gets that validation from him, and yeah.
And then you mentioned she's a virgin. Like she mentions that at one point in the movie.
Yeah, she is.
No, but then
yeah.
So yeah, you want to continue?
Yeah, so, I mean, because of the fact that she's a virgin, like, Bradley Cooper wants some of that sweet poon.
No, but also, it does show that, like, she is... I don't know, this is your argument.
Bro, okay, no, she's a virgin, she wants to be, like, she hasn't had anybody interested in her. Bradley Cooper's the first, like... We assume that he's the first good-looking guy interested in her, so she's caught up in that. She just wants to get validation from him. She wants to feel like she's worth something, and I think that's where she kind of abandons herself and goes after this thing that she knows is wrong and agrees to help him out because she is so caught up in their whole situation.
Yeah. Do you think she thinks she has a chance to, like, win him back?
No, I just think she's just kind of caught up in this thing, and I think she's kind of like she, I don't know, she reminds me of people that are like, they like know that they're being taken advantage of, but they can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, the cycle of like abuse in a relationship is like, what you're doing is wrong, this is not going to go well, but you don't want to get out of it because you're scared of what's on the other side. And so I think she's just scared to leave him, even though she knows it's wrong. And when she finally does go to that train station, she gives him a warning. Like, she leaves a note behind. Like, by the time you read this, I'll be heading east or stuff. Like, it's as if like she wants him to go get her, right? Like, why would you leave a letter? If you're gonna leave somebody, leave. You don't need to leave a letter.
I mean, also I did just remember this, but every time she calls back to the circus, she is crying because you can tell she knows this is toxic, but she just like doesn't want to leave it. She wants.
Yeah.
I wonder if she has hope for it, or like you said, maybe she knows this is like doomed to fail, but she's just like, it's like a drug for her.
Yeah.
Where she needs this relationship.
People in relationships like that, like, are scared to leave. They're scared to leave the people that like abuse them, because I mean that's the whole cycle of violence. Is like you know what you're in is wrong, but you're scared of the other side. You're scared of not having that.
Okay, so what did you think about the ending? Because it has a very strong and bizarre ending.
The ending was like, you know, he gives in. He kind of accepts his fate. He's laughing. He's crying. That he's, you know, he says like, "Mister, I was born for this," right? Like, he's realizing that he's becoming the geek, and he's accepting it. Like, he takes the shot of opium alcohol, and the guy on the other end giving him doesn't know that he knows, right? So he thinks he's kind of getting the advantage, but Bradley Cooper knows what's happening. That's why he's crying and laughing. I think he...
Yeah, he also does a double take before he takes the second shot.
Right.
Because like he definitely, he's like thinking, oh, this is happening to me right now.
Yeah. And he understands the irony of what's happening to him. But he just gives in, and he gives up. And like I think I said previously, like, he had so much potential. He had so much of like... You know, like, he didn't earn his good looks, he didn't earn his brain, he didn't earn his wit, he didn't earn any of this stuff. Like, this is stuff he's just naturally good at, and he's gotten better at it over time, and he uses it for the wrong things. Mm-hmm. And it like, he uses it to take advantage of people, he uses it to con people, he uses it to get himself better, and at the end of it all, it doesn't mean anything to him, because he doesn't have the will, he doesn't have the strength to kind of take advantage of, or take control of his own choices. And actually, I think that is another great allegory to what happened earlier when Xena gave him the card, and he's like, no, I got this under control, right? It's about choice. Yeah. Like, you still have a choice. The ending is him making a choice. He knows he's making a choice. He's making a choice to drink the alcohol and become a geek.
Mm-hmm.
He makes that choice because, actually, he's weak.
Yeah.
He's only got his ego to fall back on. And he's not, I don't know.
And I guess he probably believes that he's failed, so his ego is probably at rock bottom, along with his
Absolutely.
his overall character. So, yeah, with no ego, he's willing to take that extra drink.
Absolutely, and he becomes like his dad, right? Like, his dad's an alcoholic. He eventually becomes an alcoholic. It's just kind of like it's repeating cycles, and I don't know. I felt like he was going to break the cycle. I felt like he was going to realize. Like, I thought it was going to be a joyous ending. I thought it was going to be an ending where it's like, it gives you hope for the character. But, you know.
So what do you think would be a good ending if it's not just him taking that second drink and then it cuts to black? What do you think would be better?
I think if he you know, like, realized what was going on, like, if he takes the drink, he would become the geek.
Yeah.
I think once he realizes that, he just kind of puts it down and kind of walks out, then the mystery is there. Like, we don't know his fate. He could go and be con man again. He could go and make bad decisions. Or maybe he's like, okay, time for me to turn my life around. But we eventually know what happens to him. Like, he takes the drink. He's going to become a geek. He's hooked on opium, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get away from that.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing. So that brought the score down from, like, if that was how it ended, if we were hopeful, if it was a hopeful ending, it would have been like a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for sure. But because we know his fate, it's a disappointing fate. It's one that doesn't leave any. It's a closed question. It's an open closed case. It's a 7.5. So 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay, as for me, I came out very strong disliking this movie, and I was initially going to give it a 4 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I usually don't like to bump my scores too much higher from hearing somebody else's opinion. It would take like a second viewing, because I don't want to just be... I want to give the movie another chance just thinking of it that way, rather than just taking it at face value for what you say. So I would bump it up to a 5. I know it's still very low, and I think it's just because for me, I mean, it's a long movie. It's 2.5 hours, and watching 2.5 hours of characters you don't really care about. I know now I understand like the deeper meaning. I feel like I have a better understanding of that. But yeah, it's characters I didn't really care about. It's a love triangle I also didn't really care about, and it's a plot where things just seem to happen. It's kind of a guy who gets more and more money with no end goal in sight, really, and then it just ends like that. So I don't know. I did have a lot of issues with this, but I guess with the second watch, it could get bumped up more.
Yeah, I think it was a great movie. I think for what it served the right purpose. I
guess I know you also mentioned it's maybe not meant to be a plot-driven movie. It's more of just sort of like an artistic.
Yeah,
this is like an art piece.
Yeah, it's definitely a callback to like 1940s drama noir.
Yeah,
like kind of like I don't know. 1940s were very like darkish.
Yeah, you have a lot of movies where you're talking probably silent movies at that time, so some of them are probably not fully cohesive.
Yeah, 1940s. You're coming out of Gone with the Wind, 1939. You're coming off of Casablanca, right, which is a tragedy.
Yeah.
You're coming off of World War II, right? Like you're coming off of this like dark, like no hopeful, like kind of reality. This is it, kid. Life's looking at you, kid. Like this is just the tragic reality of life. So I think it captured that sentiment for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Closing remarks. Movie's good. Check it out. Anaya Taylor-Joy. Hit me up. I like the fact that
Okay, for any of you who've watched this movie and have some opinions, leave them in the comments below. Subscribe for more. We're gonna be doing kind of these sit and chat about movies.
Fireside chats.
Fireside chat.
Yeah.
With no fire and hardly any chatting, but
and hardly any side.
No, I'm just kidding. There's 40 minutes of chatting or so. So if you're listening this far, thank you.
Yeah, bro. To the one person to my mom, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Remember, don't skip through the ads.
There's only 18 ads. There's only 18 ads. And they're not skippable, and they're all 5-minute long. They're for the Gentleman's Shave Club.
Yeah. It's also our company, if we didn't mention.
Yeah.
All those commercials are just so you can buy our products.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move into the last 8-minute segment, which is another
it's a sponsored segment from our sponsor. Gentleman's Shave Club. Have you ever heard of this razor? This razor is something else. I tell you, this thing can raise like no other.
This razor could even shave Enoch's pubes.
This razor is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Also, look in the description. We have a link to our merch, to our custom-made Enochs, imported from Sweden, handcrafted.
Also, use our referral code eat my ass underscore fucking to get 3.5% off.
So that's the whole code.
Yeah, that'll get you 20% off. So you gotta type in to get 3.5% off, like that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this thing takes off. I'm not sure it will, but hey, let's be hopeful. Not like this movie.
Yeah.